Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the qualifying watch-along for the British Grand Prix. Surprise. Yes, it wasn't part of the plan originally, but I'll get this out of the way straight away. I'm not actually able to do a qualifying report today or for the German Grand Prix, with Hungary being a bit 50-50, but I'm hoping that'll be fine, but that's 3 weeks down the road. Let's not worry about that one. So I thought I'd do a qualifying watch along instead. So thank you to all of those who gave me some feedback on that one. Massively appreciated. And the other disclaimer I need to get out of the way as well, of course, is it's been a while since I said this. There is no race footage, no on-track footage in this stream. It is an alternative commentary with me answering some of your questions and just rambling on for the best part of 2 hours and driving you all crazy. If that's okay, of course, with, of course, regular updates from the session as well, and live timing provided by Planet F1. So, I'm going to kick this stream off by having a look at the result from FP3 and a third different driver to top the session. I think it was Gasly in FP1, Bottas in FP2, and Charles Leclerc in FP3 with a 125.9 ahead of teammate Sebastian Vettel, and Lewis Hamilton finished the session in third. Less than half a tenth between the top three. Yes, please. If we could have that throughout the rest of this weekend, that would be brilliant. Pierre Gasly quicker than Verstappen this morning as well. Actually, only a couple of tenths off the fastest time by Leclerc, so solid from him. Big weekend needed. He's one of the drivers I'm really rooting for, obviously, this weekend. Max Verstappen in fifth, half a second off the fastest time. Valtteri Bottas only sixth. Of course, though, remember, it is only FP3, and there's a lot of time for all of that to change between now and qualifying. It was a bit wet as well, a bit of drizzle earlier in the session, so that might have had an impact on some of the lap times, but I'm not going to start making excuses like that. Let's just enjoy the fact there was that much of a gap, or that little of a gap between the top three. Lando Norris, best of the rest again, 7th for McLaren. Then it's the two Renaults, Nico Hülkenberg and Daniel Ricciardo, 8th and 9th. Alex Albon in his Toro Rosso was in 10th. Was he? Well, just over a second off the pace, so not bad. I think that also shows how quick the top guys weren't really going at that point. Antonio Giovinazzi, 11th. Carlos Sainz in 12th. Daniel Kvyat in 13th. Then come the Haas boys, staying out of drama today, or they are at least. 14th for Grosjean, who didn't spin on pit exit today. 15th for Magnussen. 16th for Kimi Raikkonen. Lance Stroll was 17th for Racing Point. Sergio Perez was 18th. And then, of course, the Williams boys of George Russell and Robert Kubica super quickly on Racing Point. It's one of the few weekends I'm really hoping they have a terrible Saturday. If you haven't seen the news, them and their sponsors I think they give you something like £1,000 for every position they gain in the race between now and I think they said the end of the season to charity. So if Lance Stroll and Sergio Perez want to start 19th and 20th and finish 9th and 10th, that's absolutely fine. So positive spin on all of that. Yes, that's pretty decent of them. They don't have to do things like that. It's yeah, I'm soft like that though. So a couple of things to talk about before we get on to qualifying, which is about 17 minutes away with my quick maths there. I am going to talk about bitch energy. That is something I will do. But I just want to talk about refueling, something that Jean Todt has decided to throw back onto the table for 2021. He's asked F1 bosses to consider it again as part of the 2021 rules package. We've seen a lot of debate about this over on social media. And a lot of people seem against it and a few seem in favour of it. I'm one who, from a safety point of view and a cost point of view, I don't really see the point and I'm totally against it. From a racing point of view, I'm not really bothered because I just don't see the point. I just don't see the point. People are talking about, I don't know what they're talking. I read tweets about how, the good old days. And it's like, yeah, do you remember all those years when we had refueling in Formula 1 and we had a load of overtaking, lots of close racing, and the overtaking was never done in the pit lane? No, me neither. I think it was worse. It was at least as bad as we have now. Yes, you had the extra strategical element, but you can do that with the tyres if you get them right. So I don't really think refueling is the way forward, and maybe that's just me being weird, but I don't think going back to V10s is going to solve the problems. The problems are a lot bigger than refueling and power units. Much bigger. So you look at Formula 2, they don't have refueling. The racing's fantastic. They can make these cars work, make them a couple of seconds slower, get some ground effects on there, and the racing will sort itself out. I know it sounds really stupid, doesn't it? Slow the cars down, but I'm just not. I don't think refueling is the answer. It's an option. I understand why people, perhaps from a nostalgia point of view, like to think about bringing things like refueling and V10's back, and don't get me wrong, the scream of a V10, I'll never not miss that. It's such a noise, absolutely brilliant, of course, and it is nice to have a bit of strategy in there. I think Jenson Button was saying in his Sky commentary, he loved racing when they have refueling. I just don't think it's the solution. I think, if you want to cut costs, the last thing you need to be doing is trying to ship a ton of fuel or tons of fuel around the world over the course of a season, and then get the teams having to pocket some, or having to dip into their pockets to pay for some of that. And I'm just not totally for it. I will say, without sounding too much like I'm sitting on the fence, for a change, if they bought it back, I wouldn't be one that was kicking up a fuss, but I just don't really see that it's going to solve anything at all, and I'm not totally for it or against it. So yeah, that's me on the fence. I'll get off the fence one day, and when I've got a sore backside probably, but yes, Rich Energy. Yeah. Or Bitch Energy, as I'm going to start calling them. They've been at it. You might have noticed something on social media the other day. They apparently terminated their contract with Haas due to, quote, poor performance. The shareholders then turned around and said that was nonsense. That wasn't the case. That wasn't going to be happening. They were committed to Haas. They were committed to Formula One. They wanted to stay as their title sponsor. William Story then threw his toys out his pram and had a strop, saying it's his company, my ball. If I don't want to play, I'm going to take it away. It all got a bit funny on Twitter. There's some official stuff, alleged official stuff that he's shown. By the way, the letter he's tweeted on Twitter, obviously, just doesn't look totally legit. Maybe it's just because of all the tweets that came before, but I think the fact that people are confusing it with the parody account, I've seen a lot of people genuinely seem to be asking, is this real? Is this the real account? It is the real Rich Energy account, and that's what's really bizarre, because there are a couple of parody accounts. I think one's called Poor Energy, who kind of take their tweets and then reword them to a more professional tweet, and you could easily confuse the two if you were new to Formula One, but it's all just absolutely pathetic. It's ridiculous. And I've had a few people say to me, oh, leave them alone, Sean, it's great, they're a breath of fresh air. They're not a breath of fresh air. William Story's just been an absolute prat. It's as simple as that. That's not a breath of fresh air. We want personalities in Formula One, but we don't want people just to turn up and start slagging off the team they're supposed to sponsor and start making ludicrous suggestions. And that tweet they put out on Tuesday, they basically attacked the F1 as a sport, attacked the fan base, attacked Williams, attacked Red Bull, and then attacked Haas. And it's like, oh yeah, that's just what we want in Formula One. And others saying, they're a sponsor. We want to see sponsors in Formula One. It's great, fantastic. Yeah, true. We want sponsors in Formula One. Teams need sponsors, but we want legitimate sponsors. Does that make sense? We want people that have, A, and 1, actually got the money to sponsor teams, and B, and 2, have an actual product to sell, because it's all right saying it's available on Amazon, but nobody seems to ever get their hands on a can. I think now White Bikes own everything they've got anyway. They've not paid the court award, if you like, to White Bikes they're supposed to be paying. I don't think they've paid up for Haas, if rumours are to be believed. Again, stress that is a rumour that they've not paid up to Haas. So are they a legitimate sponsor? They're not, and they're putting... I'm relieved they didn't do this with Williams, and they didn't get their hands on Force India when they were up for sale last year, because Gene Haas is a very shrewd, he's a very clever businessman, and he's got some money behind him. So Haas will be fine if and when this all goes under. However, if this had been happening to Williams and they were relying on that money, or Force India, it would be even more of a mess. So it's all right. It's all right, William Story, the rogue individual jumping onto Twitter and attacking these teams and dragging their name through the mud with his. But he's playing with teams' financial future, and that's ridiculous. And that's where my issue is. It's great to have a sponsor in Formula One. It is nice to have people willing to say what they think, but there are ways to go about it, and he's not doing it the right way. And I'm hoping that the shareholders will absolutely slicey-dicey. I completely agree. It's the phrase I'm trying to avoid. Slicey-dicey in chat there, summing it up nicely in 2 words. But yeah, they're not the kind of sponsors we want. I'm hoping the shareholders see sense and he just walks away. A couple of people, actually a friend of mine, saying, well, hang on a minute, maybe he's playing this, maybe he's being smart and he wants to sell his shares in the business. But I think there's only about 100 shares or something stupid like that in Rich Energy. So he owns 60-something%, so he's going to get about 40 quid for the rest of the shares. There's not a lot of money there. So what I think is happening, based on the tweet he put out today, let me see if I can find it. I did actually quote the tweet and have a bit of a moan at him for it. said, Haas F1 team love Rich Energy so much, we don't blame them as we are better than Red Bull. Yeah, they have kept our brand livery on the car even after we sacked them for poor performance. That's the kind of tweet that he's putting out at the moment. It's really petulant. It's incredibly childish. And the reason Haas have still got the Rich Energy branding on the car is quite simple. Haas understand what a legal contract is. They know that if they remove all that from the car, William Story could have them for it for breach of contract. They're not stupid. They'll be doing it all properly. And whilst he's trying to drag their name through the mud, the only side of this that are coming out with any respect at all are Haas, because they are keeping relatively quiet on it and are getting on with business. They could have taken those off in a strop. They could have had a few shots back with tweets, but they didn't. Same with White Bikes. White Bikes barely said a word. It just says it all. I think he's trying to provoke a reaction. I think he knows the business is about to go under. White Bikes are probably going to petition for them to be wound up because they've not paid what they're supposed to have paid through the courts. So I think he's trying to go out in a big blaze of glory. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next few days. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe not a different liveried Haas, but certainly the Rich Energy logo's gone by Germany. I mean, the White Bikes logo's already gone, but yes. So we'll move on. I'm not going to keep banging on about Rich Energy. I just wanted to do that. Right. I did think about a video, but nah, it's not the kind of video I want to do. I don't mind having a moan in a live stream or popping a quick thing in a news video, but it's not something worth a video. I think it's something else as well. We're all guilty of it. A lot of us are guilty of it on social media, of quoting these tweets and giving them stick, and I've given them 5 minutes in this video and I gave them a couple of minutes in the preview. This is all free publicity for them, and they're going to see it as no publicity is bad publicity. So maybe the right thing to do is just when we see the tweets, just ignore them, don't respond, and don't give him the attention that he wants. A bit like a child. A bit like I did the other day with my 18-month-old nephew who had a Tang Fastic and nearly blew his head off. Which was very... Anyway, let's not get into that. That's not Formula 1 related. But yes, qualifying. I'm ready for this. I'm absolutely ready for this. Actually, I should say, just scrolling along the bottom, Williams have insisted they have no plans to replace Robert Kubica mid-season. I did say the other day, or was it in the race reaction or the podcast at some point over the last week? I never thought he was going mid-season because I don't think they need to. He's not costing them points because they're not challenging for points. He's massively experienced. He's got good knowledge, and he'll be doing a hell of a lot to help them develop that car. I'll be surprised, very surprised if he's in that car next season, but I think he will see out the rest of this season. Plus, sponsors have probably paid up, and they can't really afford to go dropping... I've forgotten who his sponsor is. Dropping the sponsor from that car. They're going to want the money for that. Also good news for Williams. They've re-signed with Rocket as their title sponsor for the next few years. So things looking up for Williams. On what is Sir Frank Williams' 50th anniversary as a team principal. There is actually a documentary on Sky later, which I'm really looking forward to sitting down and watching. Probably tomorrow now when I get home. It's going to be, very much looking forward to watching that. So... should we do some predictions? We've got about 7 minutes towards quali. You can let me know in chat your pole sitter, your top 3, your top 10 if you want to list the 20 if you feel like it. Absolutely fine. I won't go that far. I said Lewis Hamilton on Thursday in the preview, and he has had pole position, I think, every year now since 2015. And I think it was only Nico Rosberg who stopped him. I think it was 2014. So he's had quite a lot of poles since 2013, his move to Mercedes. They've very much dominated. They've had the last, again, every pole since 2013. So I think it will be Hamilton. It's very close. I think Ferrari appear to have more pace than I was expecting, but Lewis Hamilton did say over the radio towards the end of FP3, there's not much more to give in the car, I believe, are his words. And that means they've probably got another second in hand. You know how it goes with them. So I'm going to stick with Hamilton for pole. I'm not going to back out of my predictions. In terms of who's going to join him on the front row, I've got a good feeling about Leclerc. He seems to really be in the zone at Ferrari at the moment. Sebastian Vettel doesn't seem himself and hasn't since Canada. I think we can kind of understand to a point, and he seems to, he wasn't amazing in Austria. Well, he wasn't bad though. The key thing about Austria, sort of, you look at the result and you're like, well, 4th place isn't great, but he did make an extra pit stop and was super quick and did start well down the grid. So actually, that's not fair. But he's had some weekends this year that haven't been brilliant. So I'm not convinced he'll be on that front row. So I'm going to go with Leclerc. We'll have a split front row. Why not? And as for the 3rd place, I think Bottas has got more speed than he's letting on, but I would not be surprised to see Max Verstappen crop up in third place. It's just that Red Bull is much quicker this weekend than I was expecting. I know there are these engine modes and whatnot that we've got to take into account. We don't know what Honda have got. Some say they've got a party mode. Some say they haven't. Perhaps they have, but it's not as good as the others, and they're working on it. But I'm very, very optimistic for Red Bull, certainly in red trim. If you think about actually safety cars, I think there's been a safety car at every single British Grand Prix since 2013. We had 2 last year as well. So safety cars come into play tomorrow. As long as Red Bull are keeping themselves within that safety car window, if you like, during the race, they could spring a surprise tomorrow. So I think they'll probably end up sort of 5th and 6th. I'm hoping we don't get 1-2 Mercedes, 3-4 Ferrari, 5-6 Red Bull, because that tends to mean that you're going to get a bit of a boring, predictable race. But we'll see. I think Red Bull in race pace will be strong, but possibly not when it comes to qualifying today. It's that one lap pace they've struggled with. But yes, people ask about the weather in chat. Overcast, it's a British summer, really. It's overcast with a threat of rain constantly. Here in Lincoln, which is nowhere near Northampton, it's a bit cloudy and miserable, and it rained most of the night. So, yeah, bit of rain in FP3. There is some reports of some rain. I'm going to put my headphones in now so I can listen to Crofty on his music rant and all that action. So get those on so I can listen. I've got them on a little bit louder. Hopefully the mic won't pick them up, because a few people said last time I did Watchalongs that I should have the commentary on a bit louder so I don't miss things, because I do tend to when I'm waffling on. I think if it does rain, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Hamilton and Verstappen on the front row. They are so good in the wet, aren't they? So I think it's going to have to chuck it down. But I wouldn't mind a session like Belgium last year, when Force India, or were they still Force India then? They were Racing Point Force India, weren't they? They'd almost fallen apart in the summer break, and then arrived at Belgium, and Esteban Ocon and Sergio Perez were right up there with the front runners and gave us that iconic shot in the race of a Force India either side of Vettel and Hamilton. One of the best shots, one of the best photographs of last year, in my opinion. Absolutely loved that. So, yeah. I won't mind a qualifying like that. A big shock. A big shock towards the shot. We're going to move over to the watch-along screen, and I'm going to reiterate. I need to get the right one. There we go. Reiterate, once again, obviously no race footage, no on-track footage in this stream for blatantly obvious copyright reasons, but the live timing is provided by Planet F1. I'm quite happy to sit here waffling along. Don't forget, though, before we get going, to drop a like on the stream would be massively appreciated, and do subscribe if you are new. I should be live tomorrow for the race reaction. The reason I say should is it might have to come down to what you guys think again. I could be on my own. I've not asked Jonty yet, and I keep forgetting to ask Jonty. But everybody else is at Silverstone, and I'm not. Not that I am sat here sulking my backside off about it whatsoever. So it'll either be a race reaction with me and Jonty if he's up for that, or it'll be me on my own just giving a few thoughts about the race. But either way, I'll probably go live. I should be back by then. So yes. Totally ready for that. I predict Grosjean complaining, and if it's wet, Jonty sulking. Yeah, maybe he'll come along. Maybe he'll come on for the race reaction. I'm going to keep poking him until he says in chat that he will or he won't. Yeah, I predict Grosjean complaining, and if it's wet, there will be spinning, says Nitro36. According to Pirelli, the medium tyre is around 0.7 seconds per lap slower than the soft. Interesting. Force India out of Q1. Jonty will be there for the race reaction. Thank you, Jonty. I forgot to ask you, and I'm doing it cheekily through a stream with a few people watching just to try and pressure you into it. Thank you, mate. I'll talk to you later. We've been having a bit of a rich energy bashing, haven't we? So we'll try something. It's quite funny. We can't stop laughing about it all. We shouldn't really, but yes. It's Drazzy. I just had a car accident this morning. My car is totaled, so I could use this as a distraction. Thanks, Sean. First of all, I mean, I'm assuming you're okay because you're watching the stream. If you're not, you should probably get yourself to hospital. Or you stick around for the stream if you want. But I hope you're okay, mate. And that is awful. I've written a couple of cars off. It's not nice. But yeah, hope everything's all right. Obviously not with the car. That sucks. Juan Pablo Montoya is there this weekend, everyone's favourite Colombian. Who's going to get knocked? I mean, knocked out in Q1. I think we know we're looking at Williams probably Racing Points. Q1, by the way, we are underway. That is actually a second slower than the official one, but it doesn't matter, does it? I think we'll lose the Williams boys. I said think. I tried to keep a straight face as well. I know we'll lose the Williams boys. We're going to lose Stroll. Let's face it, he cannot handle Saturdays at all. It depends on rain, I guess. Rain turns up. It's a bit of a leveller. I don't know if the Williams will handle that very well, but yeah. So first out, who's going to be first out? Lando Norris, Nico Hülkenberg, Alex Albon, Antonio Giovinazzi, Daniel Kvyat, Roman Grosjean, and Kimi of Raikkonen. And now Magnussen's going out as well. Can Grosjean make it through the pit exit? Yes, he can. No worries. Fantastic. There goes Kevin. Oh, I'm sorry, Rogro fans. I've been cruel. Poor guy. There are actually... I tend not to say this. There are actually 3 drivers I'm really rooting for this weekend. Robert Kubica. Nothing against George Russell. I would love to see him finally beat Russell this season. Roman Grosjean, because he needs one. He absolutely needs a good weekend, and it's his worst start to a season ever. That's madness, isn't it, when you think of how he was at the start of his career? Absolute madness. And Pierre Gasly is the other one I'm absolutely rooting for this weekend. Would love to see a great result for him. I think they're the 3 drivers that really need one. Lance Stroll, some people would argue he needs one, but he's going to be in that car till he's 93, so I don't think there's any worries there. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Although, as we were discussing in the podcast the other week, we'd like to think that if he wasn't performing, business would take priority in that case. I doubt it, but we'll see. We'll see. He needs a good Saturday, I think, for his own confidence, but he's up against Sergio Perez as well. I don't think that car's all that good. New car coming for Germany, actually, I believe, for Racing Point. So that would be getting on for a year since they were taken over. So yeah, they are a bit behind. They are a bit behind. I think Perez has alluded to that as well. But Raikkonen, he's out there now, starting his lap in his Alfa Romeo. On the soft tyre, obviously, I think everybody on the soft for this one. We might see somebody try the mediums from the sharp end. This track should evolve quite a bit as well. The new track surface, it's been a bit of rain as well, so it'll be quite green. So it could well be a case of, when we get to Q3, last across the line, if he puts the lap together, we'll be on pole. And it could be the case for Q1, actually. We could see a bit of drama like we saw in Australia where the times just kept tumbling. So this track is going to continue to evolve. Clouds are still in the sky, so we could see some rain yet. And if I want rain, I have rain. I don't mind rain in the race. I'm not really bothered about wet qualifying. But then I've always said if we have a wet race or a rain-affected race, I would much rather have rain on about lap 2, and then they've got to switch to wets, and then it dries up, and they've got to go to dries, and then it starts to rain again towards the end. I like those kind of races, not just a dry to wet or a wet to dry. So Kimi, is he going to be first to set a lap time? I think he will be. He is not. His teammate Antonio Giovinazzi, as he was good this morning, I think 10th or 11th place in FP3 at the start. We had a look at Kimi Raikkonen is going to come out. It's 27.7 from Gio, and it's a 27.5 from Kimi Raikkonen. I wonder if that point that Giovinazzi got in Austria is going to give him that confidence boost. He's not been awful this season. Don't get me wrong, but he's not been perhaps as quick as some were expecting to be. Lance Stroll goes second. Alex Albon currently quickest. Lando Norris is coming through now. I think he's on for a very good lap. Coming round now, the final corner. It's a 27.1. He does go quicker than Albon, Stroll, Kvyat, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi. Grosjean now goes quickest, 4/10 quicker than Lando Norris. I go back to what I said again earlier this week. I think the pace is in that Haas. The pace is in that Haas. They just can't get the tyres to work in the race. So a couple of people watching on Channel 4. I forgot it was live this weekend on Channel 4. I should be watching their coverage, really. It's less irritating. But I've got Sky on now. I pay for that, so I suppose I ought to watch it, really. But yeah, great that Channel 4 have got this. It's only the one live race, and it's only highlights for the rest of the year, but it'll do. There was a point where there was going to be nothing. Charles Leclerc coming out quickest in FP3, pole in Austria. On the yellows, yeah, he's on the Martin Brundle there, point, just drawing my attention to that one. Medium tyres for both the Ferraris, so that could be interesting. I've seen a couple of people actually asking lately about Watchalongs. I'm gonna I don't like doing channel update videos. I much prefer putting it in the community tab because I always feel like channel updates are a bit of a view subscriber money grab. But I might, to explain, maybe do a live stream, do a Q&A live stream and do it instead. Because it'd be easy to explain where the watch-alongs are and why they've disappeared for now. I'm not going to do it now, but yeah, I'll do something to explain it. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. As long as the rain impacts strategy, it'll be great, says Falco. Hey, Xbox player, Grosjean has some decent pace. Very good. Matt212, Matt Beard will be very, very pleased with that punt. So, Sebastian Vettel asking if DRS was disabled between turns 5 and 6, and he couldn't activate it. So, keep an eye out for that on his lap. That'll cost him time. Max Claydon, good afternoon, Max. Says Channel 4 are doing amazing at what they have from FOM. They've been completely screwed over and handled it very well. I think they do a good job of what they've got. Absolutely, completely agree. It's not the best coverage in terms of the amount you get to see of on-track action in some respects. Particularly, I find their qualifying highlights a little bit awkward to watch, but given that they are the restrictions they have, they're doing the absolute best they can. So I completely agree in that respect. On board with Seb Vettel now. Has he got DRS open between 5 and 6? We're not on board. We're on board, sorry, rather than off board. Would have liked to see if he's got his DRS open through there. Giovinazzi goes second. We've got Sainz fastest at the moment, 26.6. Now Raikkonen. Ooh, Raikkonen 26.7. Gio 26.7. Grosjean, I think, is in there as well. Albon goes quickest on a 26.4. Solid from Albon. Leclerc purple in the first sector. Sebastian Vettel green, obviously personal best because he's not set a time yet. Can he do through Maggots and Beckett's? What a complex that is. That is brilliant. I love sitting down there during practice on a Friday. I can't believe I'm not there. Oh, it's so frustrating. Anyway, but I get to do this. I get to do all my content, so that's it. That's a positive. We'll look at it that way. Leclerc flying at the moment. Norris fastest, 26 flat. Gasly, a couple of tenths actually slower than Norris on his first run. Magnussen moves up to 5th for Verstappen team radio. Saying he's got lag, unbelievable lag. And Vettel only goes second. He is on the mediums. You got Norris fastest on a 26.0. Vettel on a 26.1. Leclerc goes across the line on a 25.6. Verstappen also in there with a 26 flat. Norris second at the moment, so Vettel's going to need to go again with 10 minutes to go. Danny Might says F1 TV better than Channel 4 and better than Sky. Isn't F1 TV the Sky coverage? The Sky commentary? What do you mean? I mean, it's cheaper than. I'd happily pay for F1 TV when it works, but yeah. I suppose, yeah, I'm just reading chat there. I suppose, as Danny Mike's pointing out, you get all your access to onboards and pit channels and things. So, yeah, more in depth, I guess, is the phrase. It's a shame that Sky don't offer. I think they've got a race control section, but it's not particularly quick. So we've got Leclerc fastest. We've got Hamilton coming round at the moment. He is not beating Leclerc's times presently. At minute. He's on the softs, though. So, yeah, that lap from Leclerc was on the mediums. Half a second quicker than his teammate on the mediums. What's Hamilton doing on the soft? Oh, a bit of dust kicked up on the exit there. He's gone purple in the middle. 1.3 seconds quicker than Stroll. Thank you for that, FOM. That's information we really needed to know. I assume that's the time he technically needs to get out of Q1, but I'd be very surprised if we don't see the Mercedes out of Q1. I think they'll be comfortably through to Q3. I think Hamilton's going to go quickest here, round the final corner. It's only by a tenth, though. Only a tenth quicker than Leclerc, who set his again on the medium compound tyre. Apparently, according to somebody in chat earlier, 7 tenths. the gap between them. So that is a very good lap from Charles Leclerc. Very interesting. I'm just looking at the time. Some interesting, some real surprising there. Lando Norris 4th ahead of Verstappen and Vettel. So Vettel will need to go again. Verstappen will need to go again, I would assume. Gasly is going again. I think he's going for a second lap. We have seen this season, haven't we, actually, that second laps tend to go a little bit better than first laps. Leclerc going purple again. Gasly half a second down in the middle sector. That would actually be quicker for him if he can complete this lap. Leclerc's absolutely flying. He had a bit of a... Bahrain aside, he had a bit of an up and down start, didn't he, to life at Ferrari, Charles Leclerc. His last few races, he seems to have really got to grips with that car. And to be honest, he has got to grips with his teammate. I don't know what's going on with Seb Vettel. I might discuss that at some point. I've got some theories starting to form in my head. You know, just sort of tinfoil hat on, thinking back to 2014, but we'll get into that another day. Over the line goes Leclerc. He doesn't go quickest, but he's only 2/100ths off, again, on the medium tyres on their second run. Verstappen does improve to third. That should just about be enough to get through. Jonty says, cut off 26.7, question mark. Let's have a look at the times. Grosjean 26.7 at the moment in 16th. Giovinazzi 26.7. I think it might be less than that. I think we might be looking at about a 26.4 or 5. Yeah. This is going to be interesting. We've got 6 minutes to go. People are coming out for second runs now. Lando Norris, first one out to go for one. So this is going to be interesting. I really think that as this track rubbers in, as he still... Oh, someone just saying... NASCAR dude 1400 says Vettel had no DRS though, so that's why he's off the pace. So if he hasn't opened his DRS, that would explain that to a point. Yeah, 0.3. Yeah, I think he'd still be behind Leclerc, but he'd be much closer than that. So I've not actually seen an offboard of Vettel down there. I'll keep an eye out for one. But well spotted. That's why I've got you all here. Really, you can do all the spotting for me while I sit here drinking my tea and watching F1 and talking rubbish. Otmar Safnauer on the pit wall, chatting to Sky. Alex Play says Magnussen is and will always be stupid. Good quote. Over the line comes Bottas, only 4th still, 0.2 off Hamilton's soft tyres. Doesn't seem on the pace of his teammate this weekend, does Valtteri. Grosjean going for a lap. He is currently in the drop zone. So at the moment, with 4 minutes 40 to go, we've got Grosjean, Stroll, Perez, and then obviously Russell and Kubica in the drop zone. What's happening down there? Let's have a look at some times. Grosjean a 26.7, Stroll a 26.7, Perez a 26.9, and then Russell 27.7, Kubica a 28.2. So we're definitely going to lose the Williams boys, as expected. But I tell you what, 26.7 for Stroll, 26.7 for Grosjean, 26.7 for Giovinazzi, Kvyat and Raikkonen. Then it's 26.6 to Hülkenberg and Magnussen. So anybody from 11th down, I think, is in real danger and does need to go again. And I would say Alex Albon, Daniel Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly, possibly, well, the McLarens are out there again, are going to be sweating a little bit. So... Over the line goes Grosjean, and he improves to a 26.6. What's Magnussen going to do? He's 13th at the moment. They will get more runs in, but I don't think they've got time to pit for tyres or anything. Cloud's really starting to roll in now. Magnussen didn't improve. 26.6. Watching Russell at the moment. P19 coming round. I think he's got his teammate behind him as well. What can he do? He needs a second if he's to get anywhere near getting out of Q2. I don't know what I'd do if a Williams got out of Q1 at some point this season. It'd be madness. Over the line he goes. No improvements. But he is half a second quicker than his teammate currently. We've got a Renault behind him. I think Williams could do with some F1 2019 OP development, to be honest. Fourth at the moment in my career mode. Work that out. We're only 2/3 through the first season. Madness. Kubica crosses the line, no improvement at all. Giovinazzi goes up to 10th, 26.4, 2.5 minutes to go. This is where it gets very exciting in Q1. This is going to be close. Again, if you're just tuning in, 26.4 for Ricciardo, Giovinazzi, Albon. Then it's 26.6 for Grosjean, Hülkenberg and Magnussen. And then it's 26.7 for Raikkonen, Kvyat and Stroll. 26.9 for Perez. So even if you throw Perez in there, there's only half a second between 9th and 18th. But it's only a few tenths between the rest. It's going to be so close. Be so close. Who can do what? 2 minutes to go. I'm going to have a sip of my tea. Because I'm British. Let's see what we're looking at here. This is that Kimi. It is Kimi. Should have known from the helmet. Struggling to get that thing through the final few corners over the line. So the only ones not out on track, I believe, indeed, are Hamilton, Leclerc and Verstappen. So Bottas, Vettel, Norris, Sainz, Gasly, Ricciardo, Gio, because I'm not saying his full name, Albon, Grosjean, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, Raikkonen, Kvyat, Stroll, Perez, Russell and Kubica are all out on track. It's going to get busy out there. What's about we get some impeding investigations after this session as we come up to the final minute. Gasly is on track. Yes, he is. The only drivers not on track are Hamilton, Leclerc and Verstappen, who all should be safe. So it's interesting that Vettel and Bottas didn't feel safe. And Vettel's on the soft tyre. Interesting. I'm, surprised. Keep an eye. Hülkenberg now coming to the final couple of corners. Cross the line he goes. It is only P12 for Hülkenberg. Grosjean goes 9th, 26.3. Good lap from Grosjean, that one. That could just be enough to see him through. Rain is hovering around on the radar. Oh, this could be interesting. 14 seconds to go. Here we go. It is raining by the look of it. In the area, it's not quite at the circuit. There's a big black cloud starting to move in, though. That could make Q2 a little bit interesting. That is the checkered flag. Session is over. People completing laps as we speak. Look, Magnussen's in trouble. He's 14th, 1.1 off the pace and in the pits. It's going to get interesting now. Russell is done. He's going to be out in 19th. No great surprises there. Here's Kimi. What can Kimi do? He's down at the moment in P15 on the bubble. Making bubble noises for you. Why not? Over the line goes Raikkonen, P13. Over the line goes Stroll. Stroll is out of Q1, no great surprise. 17th, only a 10th off though. Not very happy by the look of it. Over the line goes Kvyat. He doesn't improve either. What can Sergio Perez do? Magnussen might survive here. What can Perez do? I thought Magnussen was gone. What can Perez do? Round the final corner. He does just sneak through. Kevin Magnussen, Daniel Kvyat, Lance Stroll, George Russell and Robert Kubica all out of qualifying. I just thought Magnussen might survive there. So, sigh of relief, obviously, for Perez, but also Hülkenberg, probably Raikkonen as well. Interesting stuff. Very good. So just to confirm, just waiting for everything to just update, which it has. Magnussen is out. He did a Kvyat's team radio. Not happy with his lap. Aborted it by the look of it. So Magnussen, 26.6. Kvyat, a 26.7. Lance Stroll, a 26.7. George Russell, a 27.7. And Kubica, a 28.2. So Perez got through, by the skin of his teeth, a couple of hundredths of a second. Kvyat was less than a tenth off as well, or just over a tenth off getting through. Lance Stroll was a tenth off getting through, so it was close. But that is that. Hamilton top session 25.5. I think that's possibly, I did jot down the track record earlier. I think that's possibly an overall lap record. Obviously, officially it counts from the race as a lap record, but I think that is an all-time fastest lap around the circuit. I can soon tell you if I check out Lights Out. They tend to tell me stuff like that. In fact, actually, if I go back to my notes from the other day, I'll be able to tell you, but I think that might be 25.5. Let's have a look. Trying to do two things at once as a man is not easy. It was under... So, yeah. It is. Just. Interesting. So, yeah, that is a new record. There you go. That answers that one. I was just checking that one out. Obviously, again, race lap record is the one people tend to focus on, but that is the fastest ever lap around Silverstone in an F1 car. Possibly in any car. Yes, just to confirm. Back to qualifying. Out, 20th place, Robert Kubica. 19th place, George Russell. Anybody surprised to see the Williams boys out? I don't think anybody is really. Lance Stroll in 18th, Daniel Kvyat in 17th, and Kevin Magnussen in 16th place. Grosjean, though, got through in 9th. So the pace is there in that Haas. It just isn't really working. But it doesn't seem to work for both drivers, does it? Which is annoying. 15 minutes, I believe, for the next session. I should know that. And that will get going in a couple of minutes' time. So, looking at the weather, there's some clouds rolling in. But I wonder if they had rain in FP3. It was only a bit of drizzle. I think we had some rain yesterday as well. Watching Hulkenberg replays with Anthony Davidson. A few spots raining on his camera lens towards the end of that session, but bit of a snap there through Luffield, which will be why he had to have bought that one. That's one thing Sky do well is a Sky pad. Their analysis is pretty decent. So watching Vettel now. Little corrections. Yeah. I think the big story from that session in terms of the sharp end is Charles Leclerc only 2/100ths off on the medium tyres. So there is clearly some very good pace in that Ferrari. And what we saw in FP3 is not a one-off. Hopefully, they'll be that close at the end of Q3. Could Leclerc be on for a second consecutive pole position? That'd be his third, wouldn't it, in Formula 1? If I'm correct, with Bahrain. It's good that Ferrari have found some pace in the last couple of races. It was so important because this season had this. I mean, I still, without really selling it short, I still think the titles are done. I think Hamilton will take a 6th title. And I think Mercedes will do the same with the constructors. But in terms of, as I said after Austria, in terms of us getting some good races between now and the end of the season, I think it was important that Red Bull and Ferrari stepped up, and Ferrari have definitely stepped up, and Red Bull got that win in Austria. Fantastic race, fantastic drive. So hopefully that will continue as the season continues, and after the summer break we'll get lots of exciting racing. I've always said I don't care who wins the championships. I'm not really bothered. So long as we get some good racing, that's all that matters. I would prefer if Hamilton didn't win the title before the end of the season. If he's going to win it, at least wait till Abu Dhabi so we can have a showdown. It feels like forever since we had a title showdown. 2016? Rosberg Hamilton, the last time we had a big finale showdown in Abu Dhabi? Yeah, it will have been. Hamilton driving slowly to try and back Rosberg up and all that over team radio. So, yeah. Flying Tiger says 1 DNF for Lewis and it's game on with Bottas for the World Drivers' Championship. 1 DNF for Lewis, yeah. When? He doesn't seem to make the mistakes. He's going to need his team to make a mistake. Secondly, even with that, I don't think Bottas has got enough to beat him. I think Hamilton would just make those points back up in no time. And I'd be honest, nothing against Hamilton. I hope I'm eating those words in Abu Dhabi. It'd be amazing if Bottas won the title. It really would. But, you know, I just don't think... Yeah. Q2 is underway. Have we got the green light just yet? It is rare. Is it green? It is. So I'm going to wait for the official time to update before I pop it on. If the official timer wants to pop up. But we are into Q2. They are on track going out for banker laps by the look of it. The rain is rolling in. So Hamilton saying he feels his last lap was slower. Asking the team to look at some data. I'm just waiting for the clock to turn up on screen before I update the timer. Don't know why it's taking so long. Track temperature dropping, according to Martin Brundle. The clouds are there. I think we're going to get some rain by the end of this session, which is probably not a good thing, to be honest. And the reason I say that is because what will end up happening is we'll end up with drivers not going out. Is that timer not working now? Just to be spiteful. It is not, to be spiteful. Cool. We going? Waiting for it. There we go. We are working now. Christ, that took forever. But yes, a few spots of rain. But yeah, like I was saying, if that what that's going to mean is that everyone's going to go out now, set a lap, and then if it starts to chuck it down with rain, no one's going to go out for the rest of Q2, so it might get a little bit quiet. So you might have to play Scrabble or something, if you're all up for that, for the last few minutes of the session. I'd say Jenga, but that's difficult over the internet. So Lewis Hamilton, as we move away from board games, going for his lap. Everybody but Vettel on track at the moment. Is Vettel on track? One set of timing saying he is, another set is saying he isn't. He needs to get out there. Hamilton's coming down the old pit straight on the way to Copse. Or turn 9 as it's officially called, because it's boring like that. And then through the Maggots and Beckett's complex, sparks coming from the back of the Mercedes. Not quite as many sparks we saw from the Red Bull this morning. The rake on that car was ridiculous. I haven't seen much of them actually in qualifying, but I'd assume that's been reined in just a little bit, because you'll soon wear off his skid blocks doing that. Through Stowe for Lewis Hamilton. Vettel is still in the garage. That's brave. So round comes Lewis Hamilton. There looks like some rain. Over the line goes 25.8 for Bottas, 25.8 for Hamilton, 4 100ths between them, less than half a tenth. So they are done. They've got their times in, and that should be fairly comfortable for them. They've gone on the mediums as well, just to let you know. Leclerc is on the mediums. I would fully expect Vettel to do the same when he gets out. But everybody else... No, Verstappen's gone on the mediums as well. But everyone else on the soft. So we've got, just to confirm, Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc, Verstappen and Gasly on the mediums. So both Mercedes, one of the Ferraris and both Red Bulls on the mediums. Again, I assume Vettel will if and when he goes out. And I think he's got to get out soon. What can Ricciardo do? Some of the timing playing up annoyingly, but keep an eye on it on the TV. Through the final corner. Goes third, Ricciardo. Good lap as well, 26.3. Half second off the fastest time, so there is more pace out there. On the soft tyre, of course, pointing that one out. Leclerc over the line. Goes fastest, 25.6. 2 tenths quicker than Lewis Hamilton on the same tyre this time. Vettel is on an outlap, and he is on softs. So Ferrari splitting the strategy, maybe? Or is he going to install lap? I don't know. It would be crazy to do an install lap at this point. Over the line goes Verstappen. He goes fourth behind Gasly. So Gasly about, well, 3.92 off. So basically 4 tenths off. Verstappen 4.5 tenths off the fastest time. All on the mediums. Over the line comes Vettel on to start his lap on the soft tyres. Would be interesting. See what he does on these. He's, in theory, should be quicker. 7/10, apparently. 10 to go. I'm going to watch Vettel. He's coming through the first sector now. DRS is working between 5 and 6, wide open. He's not purple. He's a couple of tenths slower. He is not purple. That's a surprise. Round through Cops. We've got a slow Red Bull on his way back to the pits. Into Maggots and Beckett's. Again, great section. So good. It was copied for Cota. Can't beat the original, though. Onto the hanger straight. Round the other Red Bull. Wow, 7/10. Is that right? Vettel 7/10 off Leclerc in the middle sector on the soft tyre. He must be... Something's not right with Vettel at all. There's a problem with his car. He's not pitted. He's going round. Made a mistake somewhere. We'll get a replay, I'm sure. Over the line he goes. It is only a 26.5. He's slower than Ricciardo and Norris on the soft tyre. Bottas goes second, 25.6. Unless it is strategy. Unless they are, as Martin's just saying actually in commentary, just they know that the medium tyre will comfortably beat that time. So I wouldn't be... I think he'll go out again. And it'll be on the mediums. That's my prediction. And you all know I'm really good at predictions, so you can absolutely put your house on that one. Yeah. So I think Hamilton, 25.8, should be okay. Bottas, Leclerc, 25.6s, they'll be fine. Gasly, 26.0. Verstappen, 26.0. 3/10 quicker than Ricciardo. Should be okay. I mean, we'll probably see what we always see. All the front runners will go out on soft tyres just in case. Just in case they need to put a lap in. And sort of get them ready for Q3. Bit of preparation. But at the moment, we've got Alex Albon, Sergio Perez, Antonio Giovinazzi, Kimi Raikkonen and Roman Grosjean in the elimination zone. On the bubble, I mean, it is really Hulkenberg, but technically, I mean, you'd have to throw Sainz in there because there's only a 100th of a second between them. So Vettel isn't safe. I think he'll go out on the mediums, as I say. It just feels like that. Yeah. If he had a problem with his car, he would have pitted. So I think that just feels a bit orchestrated by Ferrari. So we'll see. Verstappen is going to complete this lap, interestingly enough. Over the line, he will go on the medium tyres, and it is an improvement. Goes to fourth ahead of his teammate, a 25.848, which is 2/10 slower than Leclerc on the medium. So there is pace in that Red Bull. Be interested to see when the quali modes get turned up full whack in Q3. Got some rapping going on in chat, apparently. I'm going to look at some time, see who's... I think the Red Bulls are fine. 26 flat for Gasly. I can't see Ricciardo finding 3/10, Norris finding 4, Vettel will. I can't see Sainz finding 5. I think he should be okay. So I think Gasly, Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas, Leclerc are fine. Everybody else will need to go again. We approach the 6-minute mark. Verstappen just be able to look after his tyres because they're the likely race start set. Albon's on his way out, as is Roman Grosjean, so they're going to head to the track. Mr. Guacamole says, can we just say how close Gasly is to Verstappen? Yeah, he's as good as 2/10, I would say. He's 0.392 off the fastest time. Verstappen 0.202, but that is, if he can keep that up, that is considerably closer than he's been for much of this season. So a big step in the right direction. As I say, Grosjean, Kubica, and Gasly are 3 drivers I'm really genuinely rooting for this weekend. Want to see them do the best they can. They all need good weekends. And obviously a good weekend for Kubica, it's all relative, isn't it? A good weekend for Kubica is to get closer to his teammate or beat him. A good weekend for Grosjean is just to deliver the pace we know it's there, and a good weekend for Gasly is to just get closer to Verstappen. So I stand by everything I said in that video that I did earlier in the week with what Gasly needs to do. 6th place at just about every race where there's no drama between the top 3 teams and be close to his teammate. That's plenty. That's all he needs to do. He'll want to beat him, of course he will, but it's Max Verstappen. Not many drivers in the same car are going to batter him. So, yeah, Grosjean. Through the first corner goes Roman the Grosjean. If he can get through, he's 15th at the minute. 1.9 off the fastest time. Is a second off Q3 at the moment, 10th place. This is going to have to be one hell of an improvement from him. Unless he made a mistake on his first lap, but we'll see. Coming through, Albon 27.9 in that sector, and Grosjean's slower at the moment. Albon's 11th. I don't think Grosjean's going to get through on this lap. He might have to go again. Grosjean, yeah, I think Grosjean's going to be out here. It is a personal best, so he's improving his time, but he's slower than Albon in 11th. And that's not enough to get him through because you need to be in the top 10. Hulkenberg is a man who needs to beat half a tenth off. That cloud is still hovering around, but I don't know if the rain is falling. Maybe a bit of drizzle. Seven tenths down. Yeah, Grosjean's not getting through. He's going to have to go again. Minute Logic said they were talking about turbo lag for Vettel, but I don't know if that holds truth. I thought it was about... I'm talking and I'm trying to listen, but I thought they were talking about Verstappen with turbo lag. I might be wrong. Like I say, I'm listening to them and talking at the same time, so I've got too much going on. Multitasking is not my strong suit. Grosjean crosses the line 15th, 1.9 off. He's not getting through on that. Oh... Ted he's done his investigation as old Ted Kravitz. Apparently, Vettel's time was on an old set of soft tyres. So now we're all watching to see what he's going to do now. Will it be softs? Will it be mediums? Interesting. Just trying things. Albon, he's going for one. He's on his outlap, I think. Grosjean says, I really don't know what's going on. It's not the same tyres, I think he said. But yeah, still struggling with the tyres, Haas. I think, has Grosjean gone back to the Australia setup, or has Magnussen gone back to the Australia setup? Or package? I can't remember, but one of them has. They're running 2 different cars effectively this weekend. I'll keep an eye on chat. Somebody will let me know, I'm sure. But I think it's Grosjean. Was it car? So, okay, yeah. Cool. Roman, yeah, I thought it was Roman. That's how desperate Haas are to work this out. They've gone back to the car that worked in Australia, and we're at Silverstone. We're at round 10. Australia, as you know, is round 1. That's how bad things are for Haas at the moment. Or as I should say, Rich Energy Haas F1 team. All the backing up now. So Grosjean is going to go again. We'll keep an eye on him. Perez, he's in 12th. I read through that a minute ago, and that's just surprised me reading it again. It's just about to scrape through a Q1, and at the moment, he's on the fringes of the top 10. 3 tenths off. What can he do? He's on all are going to be on softs now, obviously. Vettel's gone soft. I'll word that again. Oh, dear. Vettel has gone out on the soft tyres. So they are splitting a strategy at Ferrari. Interesting. He'll need to set the time if those are old softs, though, his first run. So what's Perez going to do? Is he quicker? He is marginally quicker than Albon. I don't know why Albon has been put down as the benchmark there. It should be Hulkenberg, but... Gonna do... It's Drazzy says, don't think there's going to be rain, to be honest. I don't think there will, because when we keep talking about rain and keep bigging up the possibility of rain, it never does this season, does it? So, yeah, I'm not expecting it. So, Perez is now coming through. Maggots and Beckett's. 103.0 from Albon in that middle sector for the lap as a whole at that point. What can he do? He is slower, 2 tenths slower. So Perez isn't getting through on that unless he has an absolutely cracking final sector. Grosjean personal best, but still not enough to get him through. Giovinazzi is quick enough to get through at the moment. So this is going to be good. Over the line then. We've got Perez coming through the final couple of corners. And it is not enough for Perez. Can he go again? He can, but I don't think he's going to. Grosjean does improve to 12th. Solid lap. He won't get another lap in. Giovinazzi goes 8th. Jesus, where's that come from? Or Jesus Venazzi, straight across the line. Then it's Raikkonen. Does he improve? He only goes 10th. That's on the bubble. Here comes Carlos Sainz, who doesn't improve. Sainz is out. Hulkenberg goes 7th. Raikkonen drops out. Vettel on the bubble. This is what I thought we were going to see in Q1. Albon goes through into P8. We've got Norris in 9th and Giovinazzi now on the bubble. Norris improves to 7th place. So we've got Vettel, Raikkonen, Sainz, Grosjean, Perez out at the moment, but I think Vettel's about to knock Antonio Giovinazzi out. Or as I was calling him a minute ago, Jesus Venazzi, and he's going to still drop out of Q2. Oh, no, Gio. But 11th wouldn't be a bad place to start, obviously, tyre-wise. Through these final couple of corners, surely Vettel out of the final corner. Over the line he goes. He goes P5. He's through. Well, that was an intense finish to the session. Out, just making sure everyone's got their laps in. And Leclerc goes purple on the soft tyres. He's improved his time. I'm sure he just improved his time. 25.5. I'm going to rewind my TV. I'm sure he just went faster on the soft tyre, which means he would be starting on that. So he was on a 25.646. And over the line in a 25.546. Both Ferraris are starting on the soft compound tyres. Interesting. They did that, of course. It worked for them in Austria until the last couple of laps, of course. So there we go. Out of Q2. We've lost Giovinazzi, Raikkonen, Sainz, Grosjean and Perez, who was 12th at one point. Gio ended up 11th. I still don't think that's a bad position to start. You're on the fringes of the top 10. Free choice of tyres. Albon in Q3 has pointed out in chat. Fantastic lap. In fact, I'll run through the top 10 altogether and what tyres they will start on. So Leclerc, a 125.546 with seconds to go, did improve his time on the soft tyre. So he will start on the softs. Valtteri Bottas did a 25.6. His last lap was on the softs, but I still think his fastest lap was mediums. Lewis Hamilton will start on the mediums, 25.8. Verstappen will start on the mediums, 25.8. Vettel will be on the softs on a 26.0. I believe Gasly as well will be on the mediums, 26.0. Ricciardo 26.2. Norris 26.3. Hulkenberg 26.3. And Albon 26.4 will all be on the soft tyre. Few people in chat asking why Ferrari have done that. On paper, you'd probably say it was stupid when you look at it like that. But when you actually go back to Austria, they're going to have that advantage off the line, a bit more grip. They're going to have more pace in the early stage of the race, and that could be what they need to beat Mercedes. They'll also be in earlier on the fresher tyres, so they'll be able to avoid it, be able to get the undercut if they need it and whatnot. And yeah, but flip side of that, of course, that means that then later in the race they're going to be worse on tyres than Mercedes. So it could give us a very, very interesting race. Very interesting race strategically. So you'd probably assume they'd want to start on the medium, but more grip off the line, like I say, early pace could be absolutely huge. And I completely agree there with, is that Aldo Red in chat? Says both Alphas in not bad positions. Yeah, they are, 11th and 12th. Fresh choice of tyres, free choice of tyres, fresh tyres. Go for it. Lando Norris in the top 10 as well. Alex Albon making it for Q3, Max Claydon, Mourinho for Ferrari team principal. He's in the Ferrari garage this weekend. I hope he does better than the last team he was managing in red. Let's not get into that. Not going to turn this into football. Let's have a look at some surprise. I think Hulkenberg wasn't that far. He wasn't on the bubble, but he wasn't that far off getting knocked out in Q1. He's ended up 9th. Gasly, half a second off the fastest time, but only a couple of tenths off his teammate, which I think is where he needs to be. I think Verstappen's worth that as a driver. So, George Russell having an interview now with Sky. Happy with qualifying, apparently. What did he do? Let's have a look while we're listening to this. 27.7. Second off Stroll. Half a second quicker than his teammate. I think he could be happy with that. I think Williams been a second off the next car, as mad as it sounds, is actually not bad at all. So I think, yeah, not amazing. You know, it's not world beating stuff or anything like that. I'm not going to get overexcited, but solid. I think it's fair. I think it's fair to say there's definitely been progress at Williams this year. The problem is they couldn't really have been any worse, could they? So it was all going to be progress at the end of the day. Let's have a look at what's going on. Stream stats. I'll run through the order again in a mo. Or at least that's the plan. Kevin Magnussen, is he out? He is. He's going to get interviewed now. He went out in Q1, didn't he? Ugh, not good. Not good for poor K-Mag. If Haas don't keep him, I think K-Mag might walk. I don't think he's overly happy at the moment. 973 watching. I'm going to do my YouTube a bit now. 120 likes. So come on, let's drop a few likes on the video. It'll be massively appreciated. Really helps me out and really helps the stream out as well. That'd be absolutely awesome if you could drop a like. And don't forget to subscribe if you are new. Race reaction with John T. I nearly gave him his Latin name that I make up for everybody in my head because I'm weird. But yes, John T will be with me tomorrow for the race reaction. About an hour and a half after the Grand Prix. So very much looking forward to that. I'm hoping we get another good one like Austria. Although hopefully a bit less Steward's investigation, because that was a 2-hour stream of me and Jonty just going, we don't know. we don't know if he's got a penalty, and then falling for a fake press release, and it was embarrassing. Good fun though. So it's 12 minutes for Q3. So if you are just trying to recover from my stupidity, you can't see what I've just done, so it's okay. Antonio Giovinazzi, Kimi Räikkönen, Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz only 13th. Is that what Jonty was saying? What the hell? I want to see an onboard. I need to see an onboard of Sainz, but there must have been a mistake in there. 13th? No. It's bizarre. But anyway, Giovinazzi, Räikkönen, Sainz, Grosjean, Perez, Magnussen, Kvyat, Stroll, Russell and Kubica all out. Giovinazzi wasn't all that far off Q3. And that's, but actually, no, Gio, Carlos Sainz not really either. If you look at the times, 26.519 for Gio, 26.546 for Räikkönen, 26.578 for Sainz. And I'm assuming Albon's time is not going to be on there, which is annoying. But yeah, I don't think that's too bad. Alex Play said, did you spill your coffee? I don't drink coffee. So, Leclerc, Bottas, Hamilton, Verstappen, Vettel, Gasly, Ricciardo, Norris, Hülkenberg and Albon was the running order there. Just if you're just tuning in, Leclerc will start soft, Bottas medium, Hamilton medium, Verstappen medium, Vettel soft, Gasly on medium, Norris, Ricciardo, Norris and Hülkenberg will all be on the softs as well. As will Albon, who is the first one out in Q3. Just waiting for the timer to update on screen. I'm assuming we're going to be getting on for 11 minutes by the time that updates this time around. Are you doing an FE watch along? No, because I've not set live streaming up on the other channel because I'm a bit thick like that. Yeah, I completely forgot to do that, and that can take a little while to get things sorted for that. But yeah, so no. But I am looking forward to watching it. I'm hoping to be able to watch it tonight. Hoping. But yes. Going to be interesting. If you do like Formula E, by the way, just while we're waiting for them to get out there, the Formula E Word channel is all set up and ready to go. The preview for New York went up yesterday, so you can head over and subscribe to the channel. Link is in the description over there. It's weird adjusting to views and things like that, so yes. And Victor Alexander just reminding you all to smash that like button. 236 likes. Let's see if we can get that to nearer 400 before the end of this. I'm being ambitious, but that'll be amazing. And don't forget to subscribe, of course, if you are new. So let's get this timer sorted. I'm going to wait till it gets to the 10-minute 30 stage. TV graphics have taken a while to update today for some reason. So we'll see. Everybody out on track now, heading out. We might get a little bit of rain, of course, so we'll keep an eye out for that. So deep breath. I'm going to have a mouthful of water before we get going here. Because this could get tasty. Who's going to get pole position then? Let me know in chat. Do you know what? I've said Hamilton all weekend, and I suppose I ought to stick with it because I've got to stick to my guns, but Leclerc is looking very good indeed. And this is not a track I was expecting Ferrari to be this close to Mercedes on. We've got some people there at Silverstone on the camera. That's where I'd be, down there at Stowe if I was there. Maybe put Luffield. Never mind, whatever. I'm not going to get back into that. Over the line goes Lewis Hamilton then. Down that, past that awesome pit building. Love the Silverstone wing. Again, a bit of British bias there, but I don't care. It's British Grand Prix weekend. I can love the track. It is a great track. So here goes Hamilton. Bottas will be next up. Then we got the 2 Renaults, I believe. Then it'll be the 2 Red Bulls and the 2 Ferraris, according to the little track map thing that they've got up. Down to Luffield. Again, if you are at Silverstone this week. Oh, and Hamilton with a big slide. As he comes on the entry there, that's going to cost him time. I was just going to say, if you are at Silverstone this weekend, get up early tomorrow and get yourself down to Luffield. It's brilliant down there to watch if you're on general admission. So that's going to cost Hamilton a bit of time. Big slide. But he is purple. He was first to go through, so he will beat. Bottas matches him, but he's just slightly slower. Couple of hundredths. What have we got? Coming through now onto the hangar straight, an 02193. I think Bottas will beat that. I think that cost him time. He will indeed. A 101.874 in that middle through the second one. So Hamilton did make that mistake. That's going to cost him. Remember that when he gets his time, and he'll get a second run, of course. 8.5 minutes still to go through the final couple of corners. And over the line, it is a 25.3. That is not going to be pole at the moment. Over the line goes Bottas with a 25 flat and a new lap record as well to trump what Hamilton just did as the new lap record. So we're just watching a replay of Hamilton. So he goes in through Brooklands, yeah, and he just, straight, and he's well wide up on the curb. Big slide as well. Missed that apex, and that just compromised him through Luffield. So yeah, that's a big mistake. What do we got? Is this Gasly or is it Verstappen? It's Max Verstappen. Maximus Verstappenus. What have we got? Crofty records a 24 for pole. I think that's almost a guarantee. But Bottas on a 25.0 at the moment. What can Max Verstappen do through the final corner? It is a 25.4. So he's 4 tenths off Bottas. Gasly is 7 tenths off Bottas. Vettel only goes 5th on a 25.7. Is that old softs though? Leclerc goes 4th at 25.6. Are they used tyres on the Ferraris? So, Bottas, 25 flat on pole at the moment. Hamilton, 2 tenths off in second. Verstappen, 3 tenths off in third. Leclerc, 5 tenths off in fourth. Gasly, 6 tenths off in fifth. And Vettel, 6 tenths off in sixth. And then you've got Ricciardo and Hülkenberg have set times. They're 7th and 8th. And Albon and Norris have yet to go out. I wonder if they're the old softs on the Ferraris. Because that pace has vanished. Absolutely vanished. I'm not sure. No, Ricciardo and Hülkenberg both went out and used. I think they were new tyres for Ferrari. That's concerning. For Ferrari, that's concerning for Ferrari, I should say. And Ferrari fans, of course. Very weird. A few people talking about Mercedes sandbagging. Somebody else saying it's Ferrari sandbagging in Q3. That's so excuse for most of the season. Yeah, it was sandbagging in the race. Don't worry about it. It's all fine. Yeah, maybe Mercedes have been sandbagging. I think it's just this extra qualifying mode they have that they can crank up and really go for it. But it'll be interesting to see on the final runs if Ferrari can close. I expected Leclerc to be closer than that. Vettel's not really demonstrated the pace so far in qualifying for one reason or another. So it'll be interesting. Very interesting. It's curious. That pace has just vanished. Colony wants to know what sandbagging means. It means effectively, as Erudito said there, basically intentionally looking slower. So in testing, it could be fueling your car up, not running the car at full pace so that it kind of lulls your rivals into a false sense of security, and then you surprise everyone with it. Charles Leclerc saying on team radio he made quite a big mistake. So that'll explain where his pace has gone. It is half a second though, so it would have had to be quite a big mistake. That being said, Hamilton was 2/10 off his teammate and he made quite a big mistake, so that time can be found. Really surprised. Clouds are still there. I don't think we're going to get any rain. Norris is going to go for his run. They're going in the gap, as they say in Formula 2 and Formula 3. So huge cheers for Lando Norris. He's got a lot of... Obviously, it's British Grand Prix. He's got a lot of fans anyway. I think people just like the fact he's just Lando Norris. Not worried about the PR, is he? Some of the time he's at press conference, him and Ricciardo. Such a random thing. Absolutely hilarious to watch. So we've got Albon and Norris on track. Over that first sector line goes Norris. 4/10 off the fastest. So that would currently put him P4. I don't think he'll be P4. And they are famous last words, but we'll see. In the first sector, good from McLaren. And Albon's matched him in the first sector, 27.8. This could be interesting. I keep saying interesting. I don't want to say intriguing because it sounds cringy. It's going to be intriguing. I wonder if Albon can get somewhere amongst the Renaults and that McLaren. He's probably going to end up 10th. Probably. Norris on for P7 at the moment, best of the rest. Ricciardo and Hulkenberg to go again on fresh tyres, though. They were unused, I believe, so... Through comes Norris, over the line, and goes only P8. I think he's quite... Yeah, a bit further off than I thought he was going to be. He was in there. Then Albon goes across the line. He stays 10th, so that answers that one. So now we're waiting. And here they come. The Renaults first. We've got Sebastian Vettel splitting the Renaults. Then Leclerc comes out. So there's going to be a tow there if they need it. A tow from a Renault. Might have to take it. I'm assuming if they want, Albon and Norris can go again on those tyres. And everyone going out on fresh boots this time. Waiting for Verstappen to go out. 2 minutes left on the clock almost, and he's still in the pits. He's going to have to go soon. Most poles, Lewis Hamilton 6, Jim Clark 5, Sterling Moss 4. Most British Grand Prix poles, I should say. So Hamilton, yeah, 13, 15, 16, 17 and 18. So it's pretty much his, isn't it, this track. So let's see what happens in these last... Verstappen is out. He's got enough time, but he's going to need to find some space. He should be okay, though. I'm surprised he didn't go for a tow, actually. So here we go. They're on the hangar straight, ready to start their laps. Bit of traffic for, I think, Norris and Albon will be getting out of the way. Ted just saying it's getting warmer, which could be explaining why the pace has suddenly shifted. So Bottas will be first. So let's see. Here we go. Bottas has started his lap. Hamilton is starting his lap. Over the line he goes. And then I think then we've got a Renault, a Ferrari, a Renault and a Ferrari. I don't know if they've swapped around. That's how they exited the pit lane. Watching now for these first sector times. 27.4 was Bottas's first run. He is slower. He's nearly 2/10 down this first run. What can Hamilton do? It's a 20s. He's matched him. More or less. 27.5. Few hundredths between them. So Hamilton is still on for pole here. Bottas was nowhere near his time. The pace is getting slower. Martin Brundle just saying in commentary something's going wrong in that first sector. pace-wise. Hamilton was closer than I was... Yeah. What can we do through the middle? I think... Leclerc purple in the first sector, so whatever it is affecting the Mercedes, it's not affecting him. Hamilton, personal best in the middle sector, but still a tenth and a half off his teammate. So at the moment, we're watching Charles Leclerc. Vettel is not in personal best. Leclerc 3/10 up in the first sector on his teammate. 27.6 for Vettel, 27.3 for Leclerc. So over the line goes Bottas. So Hamilton does improve. 6/1000ths of a second off pole. So as it stands, Bottas on pole. Norris improves to 7th place. Charles Leclerc purple in the first. Personal best in the middle. This is going to be very close. Checkered flag is out. Into the final few corners. Charles Leclerc over the line. He only goes 3rd. Bottas has got pole. Vettel's not quick enough. Verstappen's not quick enough, is he? Gasly, half a second off, stays 5th. What can Verstappen do? He stays 4th. Vettel nowhere. Bottas is on pole for the British Grand Prix by 6/1000ths of a second. Leclerc only 8/100ths of a second off. I said after FP3, if it can stay that close, I'm a happy boy, and that is incredibly close. Wow. Verstappen a couple of tenths off, basically, in 4th place. Gasly half a second off in 5th place, but he's ahead of Sebastian Vettel. What is going on with Seb? He's down in 6th place, nearly 7 tenths off the pace. In fact, only 3 tenths quicker than Ricciardo, who's 7th. Norris in 8th. Albon improved to 9th, and Nico Hülkenberg will be 10th. Sebastian Vettel in 6th is closer to Ricciardo than he is to pole. Bottas needed that. That is also, by the way, Mercedes' 7th consecutive pole at Silverstone. Wow. That includes 2013 pre-hybrid era, so it's not all been done there. But yes, Bottas on pole. He needed that. Really needed that. Hamilton 2nd. Seb did have DRS, yep. But nothing between them. Brilliant. Crowd absolutely applauding as the Mercs come round. Wow. Whew. That was that was tasty. That was close. I'll see if I can get the result before I disappear so I can do a little quick look at that and some reaction and things. Practice 2 for Formula E is going on. I've just been told. So I'm doing this. But really, really surprised to see Vettel that far off the pace. But 8/100ths of a second between 1st and 3rd. Leclerc purple in the first sector. Personal best in the middle. Lost it in the 3rd by the look of it. Where's the official times? Let's have a look. It never tells you, does it? Because they do their in laps are counted. I'll have a look at some point. That was so close. That was brilliant. I will run through the top 10 in just a moment. I'm going to listen to these interviews. In fact, no, we're getting the helmets off, so I'm doing this very, very quickly. So, your top 10, I'll do the full run through in a moment. Valtteri Bottas on pole, 6/1000ths of a second clear of Lewis Hamilton. Charles Leclerc is 3rd, 8/100ths off pole. Max Verstappen is 4th. Pierre Gasly is 5th. Sebastian Vettel only in 6th. Daniel Ricciardo 7th. Lando Norris 8th. Alex Albon 9th. And Nico Hülkenberg rounds out the top 10. So Albon actually improved on his second run, as did Norris time-wise. So that's an interesting one to bear in mind. That's been pretty much the case this season, hasn't it? The second runs have been a little bit better. I'm just going to sort of listen to what Valtteri is saying. See what he says. Devon Butler. Yeah, he's a happy, is our Valtteri, saying it reminds me of why I do this. Understandable. It's the beard. The only thing that's changed from Bottas between last season and this season is the beard, as we all keep pointing out. So, he hasn't shaved it, has he? So Leclerc rocking up in his Ferrari. The matte Ferrari, which looks red this weekend because it's not sunny, tends to look orange, doesn't it, from race to race? Nicholas Dominique says, boring race tomorrow, question mark. No. You've got two Mercs on the front row on mediums. You've got Charles Leclerc, who clearly has some speed this weekend and is on top form, really, at the moment. It has to be said, on the soft tyre starting. So he's going to be nice and grippy and pacey at the start. So that could get interesting. Might be able to get the jump on at least one of them off the line. They're going to pit before them, so they can trigger undercuts and whatnot. So I think Silverstone tends to throw up, knocking on wood, Silverstone tends to throw up some pretty good racing. They're not always amazing, but they're not awful. So we'll see. We'll see. Lewis, as usual, congratulating his teammate. Doesn't look thrilled, understandably. But, I mean, that's as good as a... It's 6 thousandths of a second. I think... I'm not a racing driver, but I would feel that missing out on pole by 0.6 of a second is probably more frustrating than losing out by half a second, because you know that it's 6 thousandths of a second is something that you've done, if that makes sense. If you're half a second off, your car isn't quick enough. If you're only 6 1,000ths off, could you have gone a little bit later on the brakes, a bit earlier on the throttle, were you as committed into such and such corners? So I'd imagine that's actually more frustrating than, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a racing driver. I don't pretend to be. I'm not an expert. I don't pretend to be. I'm just a fan. Love watching racing. So, yeah, just a thought, perhaps. Vettel, yes, slower than Gasly. Dort Random just pointing out there. Considerably slower. 0.2 of a second, it has to be said. Gasly 0.3 off his teammate. I keep saying, I reckon you're looking at 0.2 of Verstappen, so a tenth off where really he ought to be, but still a damn sight closer than he has been of late. Yeah, I think... I want to know why he's not in the top 3, so we're not going to get an interview from him for a while, but I'd love to know what the reason is behind Vettel's pace. Because he got the DRS sorted because he was definitely using it in Q2, and I'm sure he was using it in Q3. I'm sure he was. Yeah. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, by the way, if you are watching, and subscribe if you're new. I'm going to go through the result when it crops up on Twitter and I can get it loaded into the stream. Translated when I can steal it from F1. If it ever crops up. Sometimes takes a little while. There's no investigations as far as I know this weekend, which, by the way, can I just say, because I can't do a qualifying report, is absolutely sod's law. If I had to do a qualifying report, I'd be sat here for 3 hours waiting for decisions. It's just the way it is. It's like I couldn't do anything for the Austrian Grand Prix qualifying, and it was like the best session we've had all season. It's like I guess, yes. I think we're going to get... No? I thought we were going to get a Sebastian Vettel interview there. I was hoping. I'd love to know where that pace has gone. I really would, because that... As you guys have pointed out in chat, that's not a small gap, is it? At all. 0.7 off pole. I'm going to keep saying, interesting. Max and Charles on the same row, says Annette. Yeah. F1 has this way of doing these things, doesn't it? You get a bit of controversy. And then the two people involved tend to line up next to each other at the next race, or they're suddenly racing each other through the pit stops. It does have this way of doing that. Very much looking forward to watching that brawn around Silverstone tomorrow, by the way, on Sky. Beautiful car. I love that car. But yeah, good to see that one. John T has found puns again. Says Ferrari forgot to Vettel him to go faster. Jesus. Yes, absolutely. I don't think, for whatever reason, we're going to get these times up, so I'm probably just going to have to read them to you. We have obviously got the times from Planet F1, so they are on screen, but I know the official one's just a little bit easier to read on mobile, is all I'm thinking, but it doesn't matter. Thoughts on qualifying? Let's do that super quickly while I'm waiting for results. I don't really know where to start. Nothing between the Mercs. Absolutely nothing between them. That is as close as you're going to get. What's intriguing about this is that Leclerc obviously made a mistake on his first run in Q3 and improved massively on his second run, so he's quick. But as I've said a couple of times now, it's those tyres, it's the strategy tomorrow that's going to be massively intriguing, because you've got the two Mercedes on the medium, you've got Leclerc on the soft, he's quick. That's going to make the first few laps exciting. He will need to pit first, although Austria, they made those softs go a long way, and if it's cooler at Silverstone, they might be able to get them quite a way as well. So I think I refuse to write off Max Verstappen. I refuse to write him off because you just never know. As I said earlier, if you get a safety car, Red Bull are better in races generally anyway. He starts on the medium so he can run nice and long. They're quite good on their tyres, so that's going to help them out as well. He will lead at some point tomorrow unless they decide to trigger the undercut. If not, then he will lead through the pit stops. A safety car is every year since 2013 there's been one at Silverstone, so I fully expect we are likely to see one tomorrow. That could bring him right into play. Gasly maybe not, but it would hopefully improve his race, but certainly bring Verstappen into play. I would say it's between the top four. Vettel, I don't know. I'd like to think he can bring himself into play again. He's on the soft, so he should be quite pacey early on. Might be able to get rid of Gasly and Verstappen fairly early in the race. Might. But the pace just doesn't... I mean, it was good in practice. FP3 was quick. He was matching his teammates. So something's happened in qualifying, and without really hearing from Vettel, it's hard to say. But if that is just his true pace this weekend on the soft tyre, then I can't see how he's going to challenge for the win. I think Leclerc's got a shot. I think Verstappen, again, if things go Red Bull's way, he could at least play a part. But Bottas has looked very good compared to his teammate this weekend. There's nothing between them in qualifying. There wasn't an awful lot between them in practice. He did top FP2, I think it was. So the pace is there for Valtteri. But Hamilton, Silverstone, British Grand Prix crowd, it's difficult to write him off, isn't it? We'll see. We will see. I backed him for the win in the preview on Thursday. And I think he's got a great opportunity of doing that tomorrow. It's going to be a good race. I think we are in for a good race. And I know I'm jinxing it. Don't say it. I'm going to knock on wood while I'm saying it. But we are looking good here because we've got a mix of strategies at the front. We don't know if Ferrari are quick or whether it's just over one lap that they're quick, or their race pace wasn't bad on Friday. Red Bull are the big unknown as usual. They could get involved. So I think I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward. I don't think we get Austria levels of madness, but it'll be good. I would like to see Gasly do well tomorrow. He needs it. He needs it, doesn't he? If he can finish ahead of Vettel, I think he'll be very happy with that one. Behind them, though, in the top 10, Ricciardo 7th, Loris? Ricciardo and Loris, 7th and 8th, Albon in 9th, and Hulkenberg in 10th. Renault clearly have some good speed. Nothing between them either. 2/10 of a second between 7th and 10th. So that's going to get tasty tomorrow. All start on the soft tyres. But I think that's going to be a fascinating battle tomorrow between the Renaults and the McLarens for best of the rest. And as we saw in Austria, Carlos Sainz is more than capable of making his way through the field. So if he can, he's going to make his way back from 13th. So watch out for him, absolutely. And as somebody pointed out after Q2, I think it was, Giovinazzi and Raikkonen are in good positions in terms of their tyre choice. So that they could be on the fringes of the points again. Alpha definitely looking better than he did at one point in this season. I've already mentioned the sight, see him come back to the field. Grosjean, Perez and Magnussen separated by... they went out in different sessions, that's why it's a bit weird. But yeah, Grosjean a couple of tenths quicker than Perez. Perez 3 tenths quicker than Magnussen in the end, but only just quicker than him to get through. I think... I hate saying this. I really do, because I'm Haas are a team, and I know I'm not alone in this, who I am really rooting for this weekend. Because I'd love them to get a great result so they can just give the middle finger to Bitch Energy. They could do their talking on the track, is what I'm thinking, but I can only see them going backwards. Sorry, Haas fans. They can't get these tyres right. It'll be interesting to see, actually, if Grosjean's switch to the Australia spec will help him at all in terms of his tyres. So I'm going to keep an eye on them, but I can only see Haas going backwards. Of course, as I've already said, Sergio Perez and Lance Stroll, 15th and 18th. Every position they make up. Racing Point and Sports Pacer, I think it is going to donate £1,000 to charity. So let's hope that Perez and Stroll get a 1-2 for Racing Point, raise lots and lots of money for charity. I love that. I think that's an awesome thing that they're doing. Daniel Kvyat, I think, will be very disappointed with 17th, especially with his teammate 9th. So there is more pace in that Toro Rosso. expect to see him come back through the field. We've seen a few actually in that midfield come back through the field this season, so it'd be nice if the directors would bother to show us. Missed all of everything. Everything Carlos Sainz did in Austria, we missed until well after the race weekend, so that was annoying. So they won't be listening, but well, they probably might be listening, thinking I'm going to show race footage, but if FOM are listening, a bit more of the midfield, please. If the front runners get a little bit stale, it doesn't get very interesting. George Russell, Kubica, as I've already said, nothing against Russell. It is his home Grand Prix, so it'd be harsh on him. But I'd like to see Kubica at least match him tomorrow, maybe beat him, because he could do with a decent result. But it's going to be... I think we're in for a good race. I really do. And I've said that before about races recently, and they've been quite terrible. Although my predictions haven't been as bad this season as they have been generally. I think the qualifying times have just gone up on Twitter, so I'm going to try, if this is going to let me, and get these into the stream for you all to have a look at. I've got to remember how to do this now, so please bear with me. I will try and talk while I'm doing it. Multitasking again, it is not my strong point. But I will put it on screen for a final run through before I disappear. I'm kind of hovering a little bit because I'd like to hear from Sebastian Vettel. They're currently talking to Gasly, big smile on his face, but he always has a smile on his face. He's just a nice guy. You kind of want him to do well because he is just a nice guy. Did I put it under practice stuff? Where have I just saved that? I'm really... think that's the correct one. So I'm going to pop the result on screen now and have a quick run through for those that's... Let's pop that on. There we go. Way multitasking. I even managed to talk while I was doing it. Brilliant. Valtteri Bottas. There is the result. He is on pole position. Of course, this is provisional. This can change if there's any investigations post-session. At the moment, nobody under investigation. But Bottas on pole. 6 1,000ths quicker than his teammate. Nothing in it, as I've said a couple of times already. Charles Leclerc in third place for Ferrari. 8 100ths off pole. He's got a great shot tomorrow. He's starting on the soft tyres. The Mercedes on the mediums. Both the Red Bulls on the mediums as well. Verstappen 4th and Gasly 5th. Verstappen a couple of tenths off. Gasly half a tenth off. Sebastian Vettel only in 6th. He starts on the softs. He is 7 tenths of a second off the pace. Very disappointing. Still waiting to hear from him. Daniel Ricciardo in 7th. Lando Norris is 8th for McLaren. Alex Albon 9th. And Nico Hülkenberg rounds out that top 10. Antonio Giovinazzi 11th, Kimi Raikkonen 12th. Free choice of tyre for Antonio Giovinazzi, of course. A nice fresh set. So he's one to keep an eye on. Definitely keep an eye on Carlos Sainz in 13th. He can come back through the field. 26, 5, 7, 8 in Q2. Romain Grosjean 14th for Haas. 15th for Sergio Perez. Kevin Magnussen, he's down in 16th in the second Haas. Daniel Kvyat is 17th for Toro Rosso. 18th for Lance Stroll. 19th for George Russell. And 20th for Robert Kubica. Good stuff. Good stuff. Standout performer of the day. Let me know what you think, chat. If you've got a driver that you think has really stood out today and surprised you, please do drop that in the chat. I will read a couple as they crop up. I'll just leave the results up for a moment. Thanks to you. You can get blocked. Bye-bye. Stroll is a joke. Albon is a standout for a lot of people. Jonty saying Albon all the way. Downshift says Albon. Rudsar says Albon. Vettel stood out nicely. Good point, actually. If we talk about standout drivers, just listen to him. Technically, Vettel is a standout driver because we weren't expecting that one. Vettel being interviewed now by Sky. Says he just didn't have the speed. So, just listening to Seb. Sorry if I'm quiet for a moment. Just saying it's strange. Didn't have a great feel for the car. Usually you're quicker from Q1 to Q3 without really doing anything. And just didn't have the pace. So nothing at the moment saying why he struggled. Just simply did not have the pace. Which is bizarre. Yeah. So there we go. I was expecting him to come out and say I had no DRS or I had a problem with something, but no. just didn't have the pace, is what he's saying. So take a couple more of your standout performers. A lot of you saying Albon. Giovinazzi says Forza Ferrari. A few people agreeing Vettel did stand out nice. I suppose we should have probably said, really, driver of qualifying. But a lot saying Albon. I think I'd have to agree. I don't think Ricciardo's 7th is particularly standout. If Norris had gone 7th, I don't even think he would have been standout. He would have to get in that top 6. Hulkenberg, yeah, I think Alex Albon is a very good shout for best standout performer. Standout best performance of the day, aside from obviously the pole. It's a cracking lap from Bottas. To just snatch it like that is very close. And Leclerc as well being close to those top 2. I suppose Verstappen only 2/10 off as well, despite allegedly not having this better quali mode. So got to be worth a shout. But I think Alex Albon is one that people would say. Javier says Albon and then Gasly. He's beaten a Ferrari. He's beaten a Ferrari. So yeah, I think Albon's a good one. Vettel running back now. He's had his interview. So nothing really from Vettel there other than he just didn't have the pace. And Alex Albon now been interviewed by Sky as well. He is, you guys have said it and I've said it as well, the standout performer of the day. Super quickly before I disappear then. I will go through the quali results one more time for anyone that's just missing it or tuning in towards the end of the session. Bottas is on pole tomorrow ahead of Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen, Pierre Gasly, Sebastian Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, Lando Norris, Alex Albon and Nico Hulkenberg. Antonio Giovinazzi 11th, Kimi Raikkonen 12th, Carlos Sainz 13th, Romain Grosjean 14th, Sergio Perez 15th, Kevin Magnussen 16th, 17th for Daniel Kvyat, 18th for Lance Stroll, 19th for George Russell and 20th for Robert Kubica. I have no idea why I was reading the numbers there, because you could probably work out what came after each number as was saying the drivers, but never mind. Why not? There we go. We are going to leave it there though. Been live now for getting on for a couple of hours. It was a pleasure to spend the afternoon with you all. Unfortunately, I can't get a qualifying report out this afternoon, and I'm not going to be able to do a race watch along tomorrow. I am going to do a live stream or a something in the next week or so, just to kind of give an explanation as to what's been going on as best I can without giving away too much in my personal life. But I will do something for you, because I don't think it's fair that I've not given the full picture. So apologies is all I'm going to say. But again, I will address that at some point. I will be back tomorrow after the race though, about an hour to an hour and a half. With a look back at the Grand Prix, some race reaction with Jonty. So yes, some race reaction would be good. Hopefully it will be a bit less confusing than what we had after Austria. That would be nice. Just very quickly, actually, while I've remembered, I've just gone to the end screen. Thank you as always to all my patrons. You can sign up on Patreon via the link in the description. Completely optional. Content does stay free on this channel, always will. So, but if you want to contribute towards the channel, it's massively helpful. And it's going to go towards improving the content, hopefully, and being able to really... I'd like at some point to be able to go to a few races other than just Silverstone. So it'll just go to improving stuff on the channel. So yeah, massively appreciated as always. So thank you to everybody who is a patron. Not just the $10 ones, but the every tier. It's every penny. It really does go a long way to helping this channel out. But yes, I will be back tomorrow with the race reaction stream. The debrief if you don't like live streams. In which case... it's weird that you're here. No, I'm joking. If you don't like the live streams, there will be a debrief out on Monday as well. And if you like your Formula E, there'll be a review of the New York City E-Prix and title decider. Very exciting next week as well. Don't forget, though, you can follow me on social media, and all of the links you need to do that are in the description down below. But as ever, take a breath. Thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word. And until next time, goodbye.